What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna get a Yoshimura exhaust installed on this 2023 CRF450RL. Let's get into unboxing. I'm excited to see how this bike is gonna run and obviously sound once we get this bad boy installed. So let's get into it. So as you guys can see, this is not a standard stock CRF450RL. However, it is a brand new bike. It also has our big wheel kit installed. You guys can see we're gonna run into some tire clearance issues. So while we're doing this install, we're gonna talk about exhaust spacing and also what it takes to get it to fit around this big fat tire that's on this bike. So let's unbox this. It's actually a surprise to me because I don't even know what model we went with. So hopefully it's the stainless one. We do a lot of shipping, so it's fun to see how other companies do it. So you can see right here, they got fancy with the shipping on this can. Got a nice protector around it, which is neat. Customer went with the RS4. Man, I like the graphics they put on this. Nice welds. We've done a lot of exhaust installs over the years. Always had good luck with Yoshimura. I try to tell people to either go with FMF or Yoshi on the dirt bikes. If you're running an ATV, definitely recommend RP. He's just killing it with his exhaust. Look at that. Carbon end cap. Very nice. All right, let's flip around to the other side and let's get the stock system taken off this bike. All right, so we're gonna start by taking off the side shroud. So we got a couple 10 mils right here. Got an exhaust clamp here. Now keep in mind, not only is this bike gonna run better, this can is extremely heavy. So you're actually gonna save quite a bit of weight. It's also gonna be a little bit of a cleaner finish once it's installed. So let's get this can off. All right, so what we're gonna do is, I can see how heavy this is. I just had the other one in my hand. We're gonna get the scale out. We're gonna do a comparison of how much these two actually weigh and figure out how much weight you're actually gonna save on this bike. So I'm gonna compare the head pipe with the muffler to the Yoshi setup. So we've got two 12 mils up here on the head pipe. Got the nice acorn nuts on there. This is actually pretty lightweight, but this can is super heavy. I'm gonna go grab the scale. All right, got this ginormous exhaust here. So just the can is 13 pounds. Make sure we're on the scale all the way. So we've got 15 pounds on the stock system. I'll take guesses of what the other one's gonna weigh. Wife says 12, thinking 10. So we got 6 on that can. Got to get the mid pipe. 8.5. Cutting your weight in half, which is insane for, and this is not the lightest system they sell. You could go lighter if you really wanted to, but this is going to be a reliable system. Because this stainless, believe it or not, does hold up quite a bit more than the other systems. Had good luck with the stainless in the past. Does real well with like rocks and dings and all that fun stuff. It's actually easy to repair too. If you ever get a crack or something like that, easy to go back and TIG weld it. Cool, so I'm sure some of you guys were wondering about the weight savings. I think on a bike like this, that's probably the most important thing you can look at. So let's be real, I mean, you know, you check the specs on the RL versus the motocross bike, and it's kind of overwhelming how heavy it can be compared to the stock CRF450R. So just putting this on here is a huge upgrade. All right, let's start by putting the head pipe on. All right, so right here you guys can see, got a couple springs that are gonna go on here. So we're gonna get this on here. This bike is brand new. We're gonna reuse the OEM gasket, nothing wrong with it. Now we're gonna leave the head pipe loose at the moment. I'm just gonna tighten these by hand very gently, just put a little bit of pressure. But the correct way to do this is you get everything aligned before you tighten your head pipe. So got a little bit of pressure on there. Still move it up and down, which is what I want. So right here we've got the mid pipe. Again, got another spring right here. It's gonna hold it onto this joint. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and reuse the factory bolt. Just gonna gently slip it on. Just like that. You guys can see the hole lines right up. Same deal, finger tight. Keeping everything semi-movable. Got a little bit of play in this hole. This is still loose, so I can still rotate. Same deal in the back, got another spring. I might have to weigh the springs. Probably got a pound of springs, like I said, 10 pounds total, so it's all right. So we're gonna slip that on, just like that. Now guys, like I said, we're gonna do some exhaust spacing. So the only thing different in this video from what you guys are gonna be running is we're gonna add an exhaust spacer up here to clear this fat tire. All right guys, so the way they designed their system, so they actually include an aluminum spacer, a bolt, and some springs, and of course a spring puller. Now we're gonna add an additional spacer for our big wheel kit. Now this can is already a low profile can, so it's gonna actually aid in clearing the exhaust. It's nice that it's got the oval shape and not the triangle, because if you have the triangle shape, you'd be running into some tire clearance issues. But let's go ahead and install this longer bolt that we're gonna supply our spacer plus their spacer. Can still move it around a little bit. Just want to check clearance back here. I'm gonna get my straight edge while you're filming that. Got a piece of angle iron. I go up the side of the tire. You guys can see we're gonna have about a 1/4 inch gap. Now keep in mind, the way the arc is of the tire, it's actually gonna go on an arc because this is basically a giant, if you think of it, it's a giant circle pivoting on the center right here on this pivot bolt. Now your tire is actually gonna arc up like this. So this is gonna make contact here and here. Now you just wanna double check when you are moving your tire up and down. You wanna make sure you've got clearance. You're probably gonna end up with a little bit of rubbing here. It's gonna be really close if you get a buildup of dirt on the tire. Most importantly, when you're hitting jumps, you wanna make sure the tire will cycle and clear the side of the can. Now you can do this a couple of different ways. It really just depends on the model of the bike. This is more, it's an install video, yes, for the Yoshimura exhaust, but I'm also teaching our customers what to do when they have this bike if they have a clearance issue. But from what I'm seeing right here, just checking clearance. So the way this tire is gonna go, it's gonna come up and pretty much clear the whole side of the can. All right, so now that we've got that figured out, we're going back to the head pipe. All right guys, so we're gonna start with the head pipe. You can get out your owner's manual, double check your torque specs. I generally like to do it the way I do it because I've been doing it my whole life, so I'm pretty accustomed to how tight to put everything. And of course, once you ride the bike and get it warmed up, do a couple heat cycles, you're gonna go back and retorque stuff anyway. That's just the proper way to do it. But I've got that tight. Now, this is a spring system, so you're still gonna get a little bit of movement, but the flange is actually tight to the head. So now I'm gonna go ahead and install the springs. I like how they include the spring tool. Don't gotta go run into the toolbox for the 100th time. Very handy. It's kind of nice because you can keep it for future projects. Got to spin that so you can see the logo, just because it looks cool. All right. There we go. This is already tight. Got a 10 mil right here. Just keep in mind, you eliminated the exhaust clamp, so that's one less bolt to think about. All right, there's that guy. Let's go back to the 12. Cool. Looks good. Let's get the shroud back on so we can take this bad boy outside and start it up. I've had some guys in the past kind of question running exhaust spacers. I mean, if Yoshimura does it, I'm pretty sure we can do it. So it just shows you, if you've got to do some clearancing on your exhaust, instead of bringing the mount over, you can add a spacer and make it semi-universal for different bikes. I'd say out of everything I did this week, this was probably the easiest thing, so pretty excited about it. And again, I'm just hand torquing everything. We're gonna go back through, we're gonna retorque everything after we start it up and test ride it. I've got a whole big wheel kit to go through and do a bolt check on. There it is. All right guys, last step before you start your bike up. Nobody really talks about it. Maybe they do. I just haven't seen it. Take some rubbing alcohol. Get that head pipe wiped off, because you got to get all your oil off of that pipe. I generally just have dry hands because I wash them so much every day, but if you have oily, sweaty hands, you're going to leave some funny marks on there the second you start the bike up, and that's the last thing you want, because this is going to get a nice color to it once it runs. Man, I'm impressed with the fit and finish on this exhaust. I really am. Very nice. All right, I'm going to pick the tools up. We're going to get this lift down. We're going to get this bad boy outside and get it started up. All right, so we got a little bit of a lean condition going on. I'm gonna put the baffle in, just see how it runs. This customer is not installing a tuner just yet, so I am going to recommend the Vortex ECU. It's a night and day upgrade for this bike. These things are extremely detuned from the factory, obviously to meet the street regulations and all the fun stuff like that, but we're going to go ahead and put that insert in and see how she runs. So you guys got to hear it with the insert out. It's quite loud. We're going to quiet it back up a little bit. There she is. I don't think it's going to do a whole lot, but it might help a little bit. So like I said, it is slightly lean right now. So we're going to go ahead and put the spark arrestor in. I already pulled this out. It's pretty simple. One Allen head screw in the center. Then you slip it back in. Oh look, it slipped in. If you have any issues getting your spark arrestor screen in, I just took some pliers. I folded up the corners of the screen because it was actually catching the perforated core inside the exhaust. I helped it slip in a little easier. I'm impatient as hell, so I did this while the exhaust was hot, and I was too excited. So if your exhaust is hot and you want to blow the end of it with some air, that'll get you going in the right direction. I still think this bike's going to need a tuner no matter what. Anytime you guys install a performance exhaust on your bike, especially if you do any air filter mods, I recommend a tuner. There's a handful of them on the market. The Vortex is going to be the most expensive. I'll see if I can find some clips because we have installed them on a couple builds in the past. They really do make a big difference. All right, so I'm going to put a chest cam on. We're going to take this thing for the first ride down the road, see how it feels, get you guys a good sound clip going. That's good.
Sounds better.
As you can see, the popping's gone. That's really all it took, was that little bit of resistance on there with the screen. Man, this thing runs good. What a ripper. It is wild riding with that style of knobby tire on the street. My customer chose that because he's going to be doing some extreme off-roading and some rocks, some loose sand, all the fun stuff that would require tires like this. That is why we install the big wheel kit. If you're riding in gravel like this all day long on your trails, maybe doing some rock crawling, you can actually air these down, get some extreme traction. It's pretty wild. Yeah, guys. Pretty happy with the exhaust install. Had some fun riding it on this fine Saturday. And if you want any info on this kit, head over to www.bvcbigwheels.com and check out some of these video links that I'm going to insert of us torture testing these bikes.